Hi guys, welcome back to the Bench Podcast with me, George Bennett, and beneath me we've got Alex King.
All right, guys.
To my left we've got Ethan Cunnison.
Hello guys, hello.
All right then, so
I think you suit your glasses. You do, to be fair. Oh,
yes. For the podcast viewers, probably watch it on YouTube. Yeah. I do wear glasses, so I can use it. So I can use this and watch the screen and everything. But yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Well, I have mine, but
get yours out.
I could just to join you, but you know. We've got today. I think we're going to bring you a Barcelona special podcast. I think because if no one really knew in the week, or if they haven't been watching football really recently, you've got Bayern Munich beat Barcelona 8-2. And
actually getting smacked.
It was a crazy game. I mean, I only saw the highlights of the game, but it was ridiculously poor defending from Barcelona. And for me, this has been a long time coming for them because, I mean, for the last couple of seasons, especially in the Champions League, they've really been quite a poor side. They've bottled two-legged ties. I mean, obviously this season it's not been much of an issue because of lockdown. But from last season, it was things were starting to unravel. I mean, even further back than that, to be fair. I don't know what your thoughts are on you two, but
I just think personally, I think over the last few years, I think since Guardiola left, I don't think the manager's been very good. Personally, you know, they had, I think Valverde, what's his name before?
Valverde, yeah.
Enrique before Valverde, wasn't he?
Valverde, who. Did he win anything? He probably won a few little trophies in Spain, probably, but
a few league titles and a couple
but you know, I think the great Barcelona side that I remember was from Pep Guardiola's time. You know, when they played against some big finals, like 2011 team against United in the final.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
the difference in class that day was you know, so big. You know, 2011 when they beat Juventus. You know, there's some of the teams and players that they've had at their team, but they've lost so many big figures: Xavi, Iniesta, Puyol, Neymar as well. I mean, I know he's obviously not as experienced, but he's still a very key player for them. And then they brought in players who they thought would do it and bring them back, but Dembele hasn't really got going there. Griezmann struggled.
Coutinho's been loaned to Bayern Munich and he scored 2 and assisted 1 in that game.
You know,
shows how poor the transfer recruitment's been.
Coutinho will probably move on. I think possibly Bayern. I think he might get to Bayern actually.
Well, there's rumours saying that he's going to be sent back to Barcelona because they didn't think he was good enough throughout the season. Whether or not they think that now is a different matter, but we'll have to see.
I think. Well, just looking at transfer news, Arsenal are looking into getting Coutinho off Barcelona, so I'll probably watch that space. I think it probably is really close at the moment for Coutinho to go to Arsenal. But adding on Bennett's point about Barcelona, I think they've really lost their way since Pep left. Like, just thinking of, especially like the Barcelona of our generation. I can't speak for the old Barcelona of old, but Barcelona's youth academy, La Masia, like that was the core of Barcelona, having like players such as, Gerard Piqué, Puyol, Busquets, Messi, Xavi, Iniesta. Like the list goes on, and really their youth academy structure and at the moment, and like the players coming from their youth academy, it's just not as strong as how it used to be. And
I mean, if you look at the past, sorry, King. If you look at the past of the past Barcelona teams, their spine was made of La Masia graduates. Basically, you have like Valdez in goal. You've got you say Puyol, you've got Piqué, you've got Busquets, you've got Xavi, Iniesta, and even Messi was a La Masia recruit. Obviously, he learnt his trade in La Masia. I know he came from Argentina originally, but nowadays they seem to heavily rely on Messi over anyone else. Really, you shouldn't really be doing that, especially for a team of Barcelona's size.
I think with Barcelona, they've got a couple of youth academy graduates coming up. They've got obviously Ansu Fati's come into the structure. There's got the central midfield.
Carlos Alena is another one.
Yeah, and I think it's Rui Puig or
Puig.
Puig. It's like highly thought of at Barcelona at the moment. I think with Barcelona at the moment, there's talk of Messi leaving to go to different clubs, which we'll talk about a bit later on. And Guillaume Balaguer has just reported on Twitter at the moment that Barcelona think of getting rid of players such as Luis Suarez, Busquets, Alba, Rakitic, Vidal, Umtiti and Griezmann as well.
One as well. Yeah, I think Piqué said he might step aside to help facilitate a rebuild of Barcelona.
So I think.
Well, I personally think the best thing for Barcelona is they need to just. I think a lot of the older players that want to leave and players that are just not performing there, they need to go, and just maybe build a young team and just build up from that, and then maybe sign individuals from other clubs with a bit of experience, maybe in their late 20s, maybe 20s, early 30s. They've got a bit of experience to help younger players out, which I think is probably the best way to go for them because they've got some promising players. I think that Ansu Fati has got the potential to be a very good player. I've heard a lot of people pundits say, even when they've lost the other day, I think Owen Hargreaves, saying they've got a really good player in Fati there, who, if he continues to grow as a player, he's only 17. I think him and possibly Jude Bellingham, I think are the two main ones that you're going to be looking at in the future. In a couple of years, that could be real stars going for a lot of money. If they continue to perform.
So, because the problem is, really, Barcelona's transfer policy has been really poor in the last couple of seasons. I mean, they've spent heavily on, say, the likes of Ousmane Dembele from Dortmund. You've got Coutinho from Liverpool for, was that 140 something million? Was it? I can't remember.
104 million.
Yeah. And then Antoine Griezmann this season, and it seems that the transfer, they're not signing the right players for the right positions. That they seem to be just splashing cash for willy-nilly for no reason, really. When really they should be looking closer to home and maybe starting to build another La Masia graduation or setup, really.
That's what I mean. They've heavily lost their way because you look back in the Ronaldinho's, the era of Ronaldinho, he passed it down to Messi, and who's Messi passing it down to? Well, no one at the moment because
not really, no.
Because he's still carrying the team. Back when Messi was just coming through at Barcelona, he was learning his way of being in the first team, and he had the quality to not have the spotlight on him because of that big players such as Ronaldinho.
You had the characters as well of the team, and then you had the likes of, obviously Ronaldinho's one of them. You had Eto'o, you had
Iniesta,
Puyol, Iniesta, Xavi. Exactly. You had all these characters back with Messi to guide him throughout his career. And obviously, he's now become the player that he is now. But obviously, no one seems to be good enough. They're not giving them the right chances to pass that for Messi to pass the knowledge on to the next few players.
You look at the Messi, Suarez, Griezmann, Dembele. They've got a very good attacking force. So it's clearly defensively where they need to work on. I mean, they've got Semedo's a decent right back for me.
Well, he was terrible against them.
I think everyone was. Even no one was good. So you obviously going to have bad games. Piqué is obviously getting past it now. Who's a Umtiti? Did he play? Longlay's all right. He's got potential to play. You can't just go all bad defenders based on one game because they're not bad defenders. They're just going through a stage where they're really struggling for confidence and form. And once you do that, it doesn't matter how good you are as a defender. You're going to concede goals. You're going to make mistakes. I mean, even to Stegen, arguably one of the top 5 best keepers in the world, and he let in 8. It happens, and it's just about now regrouping and selling the players that want to go and keeping the players that want to stay, and maybe just bring in a couple of people that can you know, the next season for Barca basically is just trying to rebuild. So
yeah, they can't go gung ho and sign sign Sancho, sign everyone. They need to just have a season of rebuilding.
I mean, you never know. Football's a funny game. You know, they could come to this time next season, the Champions League. Barcelona could be a real force. You just don't know. It could all just change just like that. So it's important that we keep in mind that Barcelona have still got a very good team, and they can have a good start to the next season and pick up some good form. And the manager and the players are getting on. They're playing well. They've got a good chance of still doing well next season.
Well, an interesting thought I thought of, obviously, because they need to look at players to replace. One player they let slip, for me personally, because a lot of players are coming through La Masia and they've just gone on to different clubs. One of them for me is Alex Grimaldo, the left back.
Yeah.
If you look at Jordi Alba now, he's well past it now. But they had Alex Grimaldo ready made to just step in and become the next left back for Barcelona. They let him go.
Benfica,
yeah, he's in Benfica now. And look how well his career's done in Portugal. I mean,
I know
it's a different quality of league. Obviously, you got to take that into consideration. But
as you say that, Bennett, maybe for Barcelona, what they need to look through in this current transfer window is maybe getting former La Masia graduates back who are doing well. So I think of, as I said, Grimaldo, Garcia that's rejected the contract from
Man City. Yeah, the Man City one, yeah.
Maybe think of getting him back. Like, imagine being in this Barcelona side, learning from the likes of PK, who's a legend, who's like his living legend at the club. So maybe that's the route they need to take, because that's the core of their Barcelona sides.
An absolute legend.
I mean, as we said before, obviously this has been coming for a number of seasons. I think obviously the 8-2 Bayern Munich defeat was like the next biggest result for them. But obviously last season we had Liverpool with their comeback and they're not going to make the Champions League at the semi-final. The year before that it was Roma, and then obviously they scraped past PSG after Barca had their own little comeback story. But I think it's been coming for a number of years, personally.
Well, Barcelona haven't won the Champions League since 2015, and looking at the records here, that 2016 that exited in the quarterfinals 3 years straight. Then I went to the semi-finals in 2019, and obviously in 2020 they got kicked out in the quarterfinals again. So
to be honest with you, like on the subject of the Champions League, obviously we know we're getting to the semi-finals, but I mean, there's only one winner for me, and that's got to be Bayern Munich. For me, they're the best team in the world at the moment, Bayern Munich.
You can't.
The only team for me it comes close to is Liverpool. Bayern Munich for me, they're just an absolute. Bayern Munich to play anyone, I think they'd beat everyone, because Bayern Munich are just that good. Their managers got them playing really well. The players they've got world class players. I don't see many. I mean, possibly maybe defensively, the centre. I mean, Boateng's a bit old now, but yeah, if they get a better centre half in the summer, Bayern Munich could win the Champions League for the next couple of years. I personally think. Apparently, I know Thiago might be going to Liverpool, so they probably need to replace him. But
I just wanted to say something about Bayern. Obviously, this episode's about Barcelona, but what I really loved about Bayern against Barcelona is things that I linked with. I spoke about in the past about Liverpool. I saw that, which is a side which Liverpool, for me, don't have. I saw from Bayern, there was like a ruthlessness about Bayern against Barcelona, and I haven't seen in a long time a team who if you score 1 or 2 or 3, like they're going like gung ho and scoring like 4th and a 5th and 6th.
They've got the best striker in the world, Lewandowski. You can't deny that.
Oh yeah,
Lewandowski is the best striker in the world. He's got like 57 goals this season.
Yeah,
that's incredible. They've got.
Didn't BT? I think I heard it on BT. Didn't they say that Bayern Munich had 32 goals like in the whole of the Champions League campaign? I mean, they say that they smashed Tottenham, didn't they? And they smashed obviously Barcelona. So that's got their goals.
Twice.
Well, yeah, there you go. Yeah, so I mean, it's crazy how many goals they've scored as well in the Champions League. It shows how Lewandowski's been the main man for
Just
him.
a fantastic side. Lewandowski, Muller's a great player as well. They got, for me, Kimmich, who is one of the most overlooked players. You know, like, I don't think people understand how good Joshua Kimmich is actually as a player. He's such a good player. You know, for me, he's got to be one of the best midfielders around, possibly in the world. You know, he's such a good player. He's like, he just knows what's going on in the game. He just sees what's happening and he reads danger. You know, like he's like a midfield version for me of Van Dijk. Like, you know, he reads the game so well that he can block passes. He's good on the ball. He's got good strength for someone who's not physically as big as someone like Van Dijk. You know, he's got really good strength. And Kimmich, for me, you know, I'd love him if, you know, obviously at Man United, obviously that would never happen, but I'd love him there because he's such a good player. You know, they've got Goretzka, Gnabry, Sane as well, and Alphonso Davies, who for me is the second best left back in the world behind Andy Robertson. So they're going to be very difficult.
Not just on this, mate. How is it? Come on.
Whatever, but just to bring it back to Barcelona, also there is reports at the moment that Ronald Koeman has replaced the current Barcelona manager.
That's confirmed, isn't it? Isn't it confirmed?
Confirmed, Ethan. It's confirmed.
Okay, so it's been confirmed that
Jim White has confirmed it right now. He's just put the earpiece.
He's got his yellow tie on as he does normally.
Jim White has confirmed the transfer. Ronald Koeman to Barcelona.
Oh, stop! We're not doing this. Come on, not football accent.
So he signed a 2-year deal at Barcelona. He was obviously the former Barcelona player, former Barcelona assistant manager to I think it was to Louis van Gaal when he was at Barcelona.
He's a decorated player in his own right. I think he won the Champions League with them in '92. From what?
Oh, he played for Barcelona, didn't he?
Yeah, he's former player, legend for Barcelona. He was.
He'll know what Barcelona's about, so that's a good appointment for Barca.
So how do you think Ronald Koeman's gonna, you know, fit into Barcelona? How do you think he'll do? So obviously they're at the moment.
Well, if you remember when he was in the Premier League, obviously he was at Southampton and Everton. Yeah. He did focus a lot on like youth development, so that could be a good thing for them. Obviously, because Messi'S is one of the biggest academies in football at the moment. I mean, obviously it's not been utilised as properly. But with a manager like Ronald Koeman, who knows what could happen with it? It could come back to maybe a form of glory. Who knows?
I think he's got potential, but he needs to be given time. I think Barcelona, the board, the fans need to be patient. You know, for the next couple of years, they're going to struggle to throw them funny. They're going to be another 2 or 3 years before they start challenging. For me, I mean, okay, I don't think I'll challenge for Champions League for the next 2 or 3 years. I might be wrong, and if I'm proven wrong, fair enough. But you've got the likes of Bayern Munich, who are very strong. I expect Liverpool next year to do well. City, Madrid, you know, Juve.
Yes, also with their money, obviously.
There's so many good teams, but I think Barca will still do have a reasonable run, but I don't think they'll be challenging for anywhere near the top. So they're going to have to make sure that they maybe try and focus on getting closer in La Liga to Real as well.
Exactly, that's right, yeah. Because Real should have had a good season.
And being aware of some of the teams that, you know, they've got to be aware of teams like Atletico, Sevilla. I know it's probably a long shot, but you've got other good teams. You've got Villarreal. I mean, I've just signed Kubo. You know, he's a good player. So I know it's unlikely teams like that will challenge, but you never know. I mean, if someone like a Villarreal or a Getafe or Celta Vigo or Betis have a good season, they could challenge. And maybe if Barcelona have a bad season next season, they could possibly get ahead of them. So they've got to be careful to make sure they stay in the Champions League, which I'm confident they'll do. But making sure they try and get closer to Real, who, you know, even Real Madrid, they're not the team they used to be, but they still storm La Liga. And then they're in a much better position than Barca. So at the moment, it's a bit of a funny, for the two big giants of Spanish football and for football, you know, we always think that Real Madrid, Barcelona, they're ones to beat for the Champions League. At the moment, I think if you're a team from any other European country, you'd probably want to play those two teams because they haven't got the quality that they used to have. Or Barcelona do have, They're just not as a team. They're not together as a team, so they need to rebuild.
So it's quite an interesting Champions League. I know this is obviously a Barcelona podcast, but obviously with the Champions League we've got left, you've got Bayern Munich, you've got PSG, you've got Lyon, and then Leipzig. It's interesting. It's either going to France or Germany, so it's quite interesting, like little things. That's not been a thing for a long time.
Well, probably just to finish off, probably talk about the news that's come in during the week since Barcelona's exit of the Champions League. It's been reported at the moment by numerous sources that Messi is looking to end his time at Barcelona and looking to join a new club. So, obviously,
do you think he'll leave that?
It's a hard one because obviously
I don't think he will.
Obviously, Koeman's a massive legend at Barcelona, and I think definitely in the next few days, they'll have talks. See what the future, like the vision of Barcelona is going to be. I think it's going to take a lot of talking and maybe a lot of money to persuade Messi to stay at Barcelona. But
what about you, Bennett?
I don't think he will. I think he's going to stay till he retires. For me personally, I mean, like he's been ingrained in the Barcelona culture for years upon years now. I mean, when did he first join Barcelona? Like
2007, 2006 or 7, I think.
Maybe he was in the youth teams and all that.
2004.
He's been there for a long, long time. And I mean, like, obviously there's not many one club players anymore because they're a dying breed now. But
Lee Catamore.
Yeah, 2004. He's at Barcelona from.
So he's been part of the Barcelona like tapestry for ages now, and I mean, like I find it maybe hard for him to see him leave, especially like at a time like this where maybe they'll need him to build up like the future of Barcelona. I mean, obviously they currently are heavily reliant on Messi, but they need to rely on another way in terms of building up the future. Like go and look up to him to show how Barcelona can be led on into the future. You know,
I personally think now if the manager of the last match was it Satan, not Satan,
Kike
Satan, yeah, fucking Satan. You know, I'll be classed as Satan after that 8-2 defeat.
Oh no!
Right, basically, if he had stayed, I think Messi would have left. Now, however, I'm 50-50. I think because Koeman's a Barcelona legend, and I think Koeman will definitely want Messi to stay because Koeman will know that the young players that are coming in, they need experienced players around them. We all know this. Any team needs it. However, I could see him going to possibly join up with Guardiola again. I really
Man
could.
City.
I really could.
To be fair, they've only got only two clubs could afford him, and that would be City or PSG. That would be the only two teams who could afford him in world football.
Well,
let's take a massive pay cut.
Talk about this, probably finish off. What clubs would you see? Could you physically see Messi joining
City?
This quiet time?
Say one of PSG or Man City. They're the only teams who could afford him.
I don't think he gets PSG. I think he gets to City because ultimately Guardiola brought him up to the player he was. So I think he'd go back there. I think he gets to City.
That's probably the likeliest option if he was to leave. Yeah, definitely would be.
If he does leave City, I don't see him going anywhere else. But so, I think that'll probably have to round off the episode because I think.
Well, I just wanted to probably finally add. I really do think it'd be really controversial, but if Messi did leave Barcelona, I think in the long term it could help both parties. Because
you think it would help Barcelona?
Yeah, because it can either work in or out of their favour. That when you've got a player that you're so heavily reliant on, sometimes it can work in your favour that people like step in his shoes, like the likes of Fati, the likes of Puig, like these young players. Could they physically step in Messi's shoes? Not saying they're going to be the best player in the world, but like how you saw with Ronaldinho left Barcelona, obviously, and Messi stepped in his shoes. So sometimes you need these big players to leave the club to
maybe
to fill the boots of these big players, but
also got to be
honestly, time will
careful.
tell.
There's obviously there's the other point. Obviously, when Ronaldo left Real Madrid,
Exactly.
they did tank for a little while, but they seem to maybe trying to recover how they used to be. But the last few seasons, this season they've been pretty well. They've been not been great, but they've obviously retained the league title now, and they've seemed to have started to build a foundation for the future, really. So who knows what will happen from that, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, do you want to end this now then?
So I think we should probably draw it to a close. So obviously in the comments, if you could tell us how do you think Ronald Koeman will do for Barcelona next season, and do you think it's at the end of like the Spanish reign in the Champions League, and obviously for the future of football, and also with Messi, who do you think Messi could realistically go to in this current transfer window? So just
to quick on to all the viewers, make sure you're on the blower to Jim White. Any transfer news, send it to aking.ak15@gmail.com. Transfer news on bench. We're going to be as good as Sky. So just make sure you're on the phone to Jim White on TalkSport. Listen to Jim White. That's all you got to do. Just listen to
Probably as reliable as Sky, to be fair. But
transfer news.
Also, guys, we're on Spotify as well.
If I'm not available,
yeah, make sure before you leave us today, make sure you check our Spotify, which we'll put a link in the description. Yeah. Obviously, we've been starting to put our podcast on audio form now, so it'll be easy for you.
15 likes on this. Jim White will be coming on the podcast one day. All right.
He won't though, but okay.
And just subscribe to special. All the Sky Sports transfer analysts will come on benched, and we'll talk transfer deadline day. So come on, I want to see your support. Ethan wants to have Sky Sports news in his days.
We'll put all of the links with Anchor down below with all the
Spotify and all the other places you can get it from. Yeah,
definitely.
So we'll end this now because this has gone on for way too long. So
could we go on SoundCloud as a podcast?
No.
Can we end the podcast?
Go on, Eddie.
Right. So say goodbye, Alex King.
Goodbye. See you, Jim White.
Say goodbye, Ethan Cunnison.
See you guys.
Right. Goodbye from me, and we'll see you on the next one. See you later.
Peace.
See you on deadline day.
Good evening, everybody. A pleasure and a privilege, as always, to be at Anfield, where we are hoping for another miracle like Istanbul. Shaqiri in his own half rolls it square towards Matip. Mitchell Van. John there up to Mane. Mistake. Mane into the area. Great skill. Henderson's in the box. Henderson.
City celebrating. The party really is just getting started. They've had to wait a very long time.